Thank you. I feel that way about you, too. Your voice is the best symphony on earth.
A little romance going on.
Yeah,
Well,
I got to put that
actually,
tape on hold here.
This is one of the ways that you can not only detox, but you can rekindle romance over and over again throughout your relationship by appreciating, by saying things that are real. You know, telling the truth is the best aphrodisiac on the earth.
Yeah, we make love more often and better now than we did 30 years ago. And we were pretty good at it 30 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. So telling the truth, what is the best way to go about telling the truth? I know that that's a big issue in relationships of how to tell the truth.
Yeah, simpler the better. And like, for example, saying things that are unarguable is the key thing. Like, if I say, "You're making me nervous," that's arguable, because then she can say, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. I'm not making you nervous. You're
Yeah.
crowding me. What do you mean?
So number one, stop saying arguable things. Start saying the unarguable. Like, instead of saying, "You make me nervous," saying, "When you said that, I felt my stomach get tight."
Body sensations.
To report a body sensation, it's not making the other person wrong, it's just saying this is what happened. And that's important because if you stop saying arguable things, people stop arguing with you. And if you say unarguable things, people say, "Oh, okay," they start saying unarguable things too. So that's the absolute bottom line key to it.
And if people want to focus on 3 different areas that are most important, I'd say facts. So, for example, a fact might be, I lost the checkbook. And then feelings would be, I lost the checkbook and I'm really scared.
I'm scared you're going to get mad at me.
I'm scared you're going to get mad. I'm scared that somebody's going to find it and write check. And then fantasies. So I lost the checkbook, I'm scared, and I'm having this fantasy that we're going to end up in the gutter.
And somebody's off in Tahiti right now writing checks on our name for umbrella drinks.
Right, and it sounds really simple, but it has a profound impact because you're actually lining your insides up with your outsides. You're lining up your experience with what you're saying, and that creates a flow of vitality and a flow of connection right away, instantly. So I've had people rekindle their relationship. Well, one guy, when he finally got it, he said, "Oh, you mean my palms are sweaty?" I said, "Yeah, that's it. My palms are sweaty." So it may not seem very profound, but it's real and unarguable, and that's a great place for people to start.
Important thing too, if one person has the courage to drop into that place in themselves and say something like, "My palms are sweaty," or "I feel scared right now," it changes the whole tenor of the conversation. So the other person tends to drop into that deeper level themselves. And so then very quickly, what usually happens is one person says, "Oh, I'm afraid that this and this is going to happen." And the other person says,
"Well, oh gosh, I was afraid, but now that you say that, I'm feeling a little bit more space inside. I feel a little bit more breath, and I'm thinking, well, maybe we can do something different." So it changes things right away. Well, come here, girl. Let's just introduce Lucy before I put her outside. This is the other member of our family who's a little squirmy right now because she wants to go outside. This is Lucy, and we consider her an equal member of the family.
she's been on many television shows with us.
Yes. Okay, so now we'll put you outside.
So I know that your work is based a lot on feelings and emotions. First, I want to distinguish what is the difference between feelings and emotions?
One thing is to distinguish between the body sensations of something, and some people call that a feeling. And the language, whatever you call it, is probably not important as long as you know what you're talking about. But one thing is body sensations, such as the feeling of your stomach tightening, or the palms sweating, or your jaws tightening. So the pure body sensation itself, that's an important part of it. The second part of it, which I think is less important, is the mind story about what that feeling is about. Sometimes that's very important, but also you got to realize the human mind is very capable of making up a story about a feeling that doesn't have anything to do with the feeling at all. You can be scared about something that happened 48 years ago, but your mind can make up a story about it in the present. You know, you might really be scared that you're not going to get fed because your mother went off to work, but you're projecting now, 48 years later, on your mate. When she's late for dinner, you think you're never going to get fed again, you know. So, and then she comes in the door and you blast her like, "Where the hell have you been?" You know, because you've got the old energy of that pent-up feeling from 48 years ago. So, a lot of things we work with have to do with getting clear on what the body sensation are.
Also, because we're communicating about that creates more flow. When you communicate about feelings, it increases the flow of energy and also the flow of energy between you and another person. And one of the things that we say about feelings is that they all come out of the same faucet. So if you're willing to open up to any of your feelings, you get more access to all of your feelings. So for most people, they are afraid of getting in touch with what we call the big three, either anger, which gets stored across the back of your shoulders and your jaw, or sadness, which gets stored in your high throat and upper chest, or fear, which is usually stored in the body sensations that are around your navel. And as people learn to give themselves curious attention, just be wondering, gee, I'm feeling this sensation here. I wonder if I'm angry about something. That really opens up a lot of availability to be present in the moment rather than be stuck in feelings that are blocking the flow of energy. So one of the reasons we put an emphasis on feelings is that it's an inheritance that we've had for thousands of years, and there's a huge amount of wisdom in our feelings, and all of our thoughts and feelings are interconnected through us, and as we make friends with feelings, we just get more access to all of that body wisdom and intuition and creativity.
Another thing too that's incredibly important is very easy to get confused about your actual feelings. Like, for example, many people are confused between the sensations of hunger and the sensations of loneliness or fear, so that when they get scared or lonely, they overeat. And once they understand the difference between the actual sensations of hunger and the sensations of loneliness and fear, I know that was important for me in losing a lot of weight and getting a normal body weight, because I used to stuff myself when I felt lonely or scared and that kind of thing. And once I understood that they were two different things, that hunger was hunger and loneliness was loneliness, then I could deal with my loneliness in some other way other than stuffing myself with food. And so that was an important thing. Also, the difference between anger and fear. I realized it was such an important thing when I realized that most of the time when I was angry, I was actually scared at the same time, and sometimes sad at the same time.
Yeah.
But, you know, so like growing up as a male in the society that I grew up in, you weren't exactly encouraged to let your tears out or say something like, "I'm scared." And that would have gotten me pulverized in my neighborhood if I'd said something like that. Actually, I remember my brother taking me aside once, and when I was a little kid, and saying, "Look, this crying thing doesn't work around here. Lose the crying." And
Wow.
And we get thousands, people growing up get thousands of messages about how to behave, and it really puts a cap on your vitality and your ability to actually create what you want. So getting in touch with your feelings and befriending your feelings, boy, I've seen people's faces get pinked up and they get lit up and they see their partners differently because the filter of, you're making me mad gets removed, and they can actually see each other for who they really are, see essence much more clearly.
Also, too, if you're out of touch with your feelings, a problem there is that if you're scared about something, or if you're sad about something, or if you're angry about something and you don't know it, then your chances of acting that out on other people. It's just like if you're trying to drive a car with a set of very dark sunglasses on. You're not doing a favor to the other motorists on the road. You're going to be bashing into them because you can't see through your own projections and your own filter system. And so it's important to learn how to distinguish between those feelings, because if you don't, you really get a very impoverished view of the world.
Here's a really practical tip. When people are hassling with each other and they are angry at each other, it's really valuable to look for, what am I scared of? When people can just wonder about what am I scared of and communicate something that they're afraid of, it really dissolves the anger and allows them to connect again as allies rather than as combatants.
We've seen, I was going to say hundreds, but maybe even thousands of examples of couples, which we've had in seminars or here, where the fight just stops the moment they talk about something they're sad about or something they're scared about. When they've stayed locked in the anger, they can stay there literally for years sometimes. We've had couples come in, I had a couple come in that had been essentially having the same fight for 29 years.
Wow.
And that was their fight, basically, and they had it every couple of weeks for 29 years. And it was all because they were locked in at that level of consciousness and hadn't shifted down to the deeper feelings below.